Good evening. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Round Lake Area School District Board of Education on May the 1st, 2023 at 7:10 p.m. If I can get started first with a roll call, please.
Mr. Francisco?
Present.
Mrs. Larson?
Present.
Mrs. McGinley?
Here.
Mr. DeVera?
Here.
Mr. Jewett?
Here.
Mrs. Klingler?
Here.
Miss Lee?
Here.
Thank you. And first up is our Pledge of Allegiance. All right, first up is an approval of our meeting agenda, which is in front of us.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mrs. Klingler, seconded by Mrs. Larson. Roll call, please.
Miss Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mr. DeVera?
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley?
Yes.
Miss Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes. Motion carries. We have an approved agenda. And first up on it are special recognition and presentations in our 2023 Round Lake High School Winter Guard.
So I'll do the introduction and accomplishments of this year's Winter Guard team. I will allow the coach and the team, two of the team captains, or all three of you, to speak about the many accolades, but wanted to take a moment to express how amazing this team has been this year. Last year, in the middle of the year, they moved up a class and started competing against some of the best in the region, probably also in the nation. They held their own at that time, and this year their passion and drive continued, and they stepped up their game to perform a truly rockin', it's the name of their show, show. In addition to this, I have to say that they represented Round Lake very well. I have heard many, many people tell me about how amazing this group of students is, from stepping up to help, clean up gyms after practices or before practices, to rooting for other teams during their performances and while they were waiting for the award ceremony. It's amazing how well they've represented our school and our district. So I'm going to hand it over to them so they can talk about themselves.
Okay. Hello, my name is Jamie Dormady, and I am the head coach of, this is the Round Lake varsity team behind us. And I would like to thank you very much for having us tonight. The kids and I are very, very excited to be here and to talk about our amazing season. So let me first start out with introducing our staff. So my assistant for this year is Angel Cardoso, and he is a Round Lake alum from 2022. That's good. And standing over here as well is Karina Valadez, and she is a Round Lake alum as well and graduated in 2020. And both of them have done an outstanding job this year, and they are the prime reason why we have done such an outstanding job this year. Karina is primarily one of our JV coaches, but has come in and helped us many, many times during the varsity practices. And Angel has written about 95% of all of the choreography for our varsity show. So very, very awesome. And he's one of the reasons why we can compete at such a high level. So just a few things about what we did this season. We compete in the Midwest Color Guard circuit. We did 4 regionals around the state of Illinois. And in those 4 regionals, we placed second in 3 of them and first place in 1 of them. And that's in class SA, which is one of the highest scholastic classes in our circuit. We also got to compete in a WGI circuit, which stands for Winter Guard International, and schools and independent groups from all over the world participate in these competitions. And we participated in the WGI Chicago, and we were a finalist and placed 7th in that competition. So the goal of these WGI competitions is to make finals. It's very, very difficult. But we succeeded in doing that 2 weekends in a row. We also traveled to Flint, Michigan, and did a couple overnights there and made finals as well and placed 8th in the finals. So that was the first time in school history that we have made finals in 2 WGI competitions in the same year. So that was an incredible accomplishment for us. And then at championships, we were 3rd place in our class, very, very close to 2nd place, but just did an outstanding job. They were the only group in finals to have a run with no drops. So that was an very high task because we have a lot of risk in our show. So it was a really great accomplishment as well. So I am very, very proud of all of these students behind me, all 19 of them, senior through sophomore, just performed at such a high level and represented our school in a very, very positive way. And we have an amazing reputation in both circuits and a lot of respect. So it's really awesome. They're wonderful kids, some of the best in the school, and I'm very proud to be their coach. I'm going to turn it over now to the captains. They have a little bit to say, and then the kids are just going to introduce themselves very quickly. Thank you.
Christine Angeles,
Natalie Barajas,
Isabella Vergara,
Ruby Guadarrama,
Hi, I'm Rafi. My favorite color is pink. Thank you.
Angela Samenta,
Naomi Gonzalez, Melanie Castañeda,
that I am honored to have spun with. We have been able to represent our school with great pride, and I truly believe this program is unstoppable. This team is a prime example of the success and achievement Round Lake High School continues to strive for. The impact that Guard and the program has made not only on my life but on Round Lake is everlasting and never ending. I will always be grateful for my time and experience as a part of Round Lake Guard. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we've got communications to the board, and first up on that is our BPAC update.
Good evening, everyone. This is the BPAC board report. So our focus for the next school year is to continue promoting reading. Some of our BPAC parents participate in the Round Lake Public School Library Reading Program. May is the awareness month for mental health. Another focus of BPAC is to continue learning about mental health and substance abuse challenges in our community. Advocate Condell and Advocate Good Shepherd have committed to supporting our parenting seminars in both English and Spanish to create awareness about the importance of mental health and substance abuse. This is my last report of the school year. Thank you for having me here. And also, BPAC is committed to working together with you to support our students' success. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next up is a quick conversation. Just basically, let's go around the table. We've got early registration opens up on June 5th for joint annual conference, which as usual is November 17th and 19th down in Chicago. The assumption is everyone is going to be able to make it. Anybody not aware that they will? Then hearing no objections there, then we will plan on having everyone attend that one. Next up on the agenda is the discussion regarding resolutions. Again, it's resolution time of the year for IASB. If we have any resolutions we'd like to tender, we need to start talking about that. If anybody does, let's put it together and see if we can shoot an email to myself and copy Dr. Mendoza and Ms. Bennett as well, and we can start working on that. If we don't, we don't. That's understandable. Any questions in regards to that?
I'm wondering, I've never done this before. Would it be helpful periodically to give the board a legislative update?
Yes.
Just different general assemblies move at different rates. But maybe that's something I can talk with you about as the board president. I'm happy to give you periodic updates. Sometimes, especially during like veto session, things are happening literally so fast. It's hard for us to keep up. I think there were over 150 bills filed this legislative session, and not all of them get called for votes or passed, but I can maybe work with you to figure out some regular cadence with a legislative update for the board.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be very good. So thank you for that, Dr. Mendoza. All right, next up is our graphics and project lead the way student capstone projects.
Good evening. I'm Jessica Crone, Science and CTE Coordinator for the district. It is my pleasure to introduce the student representatives from our Project Lead the Way and Graphics programs. Aided by a generous grant from the John and Kathleen Schreiber Foundation, the students you are about to hear from have spent the year building working prototypes, designing products, and creating an environmental branding at an industry standard level. These capstone projects are the ultimate showcase of our students' skills and knowledge, and our department, as well as the community, is very proud of their accomplishments. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Project Lead the Way group.
Hello, we are Team Crimson. I'm Carol.
I'm Crystal.
And I'm Carly. Basically, we found an issue with feminine product dispensers. We found in a lot of buildings in Illinois, they're either empty, broken, or they're absent. We feel like many companies skimp out on better quality due to the lack of profitability they can bring to the table. We wanted to have an alternative to a dispenser that ensures comfortability, functionality, and privacy. We feel like ensuring all women have the resources they need to. We could attempt to lessen the stigma around periods. So.
Hello, my name is Eden, and this is my partner, Aiden Rogers. So originally, we were gonna build automatic watering pot, because when I came back from Mexico, my plant was dead because it didn't have any water. But we decided to get a CNC machine in order to help us build the actual parts for the pot. And in the process, we discovered it was a challenge to build a CNC machine. And so far, we've gotten it to actually go through the path we program it to and cut out parts, which is pretty neat.
Hello, we are Team Tiny House. My name is Max.
My name's Vanessa.
And my name is Daniel. So we were asked to pick a problem that addresses that it's around the world, and we decided to shoot for a big one. We went with homelessness, and homelessness is an issue causing thousands of deaths per year in the United States alone. This number has increased dramatically since 2019 to 2018, over 100 deaths. So we decided to build a 8x8x8 small tiny home that could be easily mass produced and on a plot of land. That's a problem.
And now we have our graphics team.
I'm Danae.
I'm Vanessa. I'm Vianney.
I'm Janet.
I'm Alexis. So on that bottom left where it says pre-order now, that is actually my design that I did for the school store. It did take a while to make. I actually went back and forth between a bunch of designs, and I finally landed on that one, which was what a lot of the student body wanted me to produce for them. And then in that top right, that is actually one of my client projects that I had in the beginning of the year. It was actually a project that I did with my partner Janet. It was for the educational skill life students. They have a coffee cart that's here every Friday. And we made business cards, gift certificates, posters, and a lot of things for them. But Janet knows more about that stuff than me, so.
So the client project was for a coffee cart, as said before. We first had to make their logo, and from there we can spread out with their business cards, their posters, their menu, their items, their stickers. We had to work together, so I focused on the business cards while she focused on the posters and the coupons for the client. We had to keep talking back and forth, if there was a certain size, if we had to go measure the quantity, and well, yeah, that's the main thing we had to focus on.
In the bottom middle, as you can see, the headshots were the ones that we used in the football video as a hype video that they wanted to be played at their football games, along with the top photo that was also used in the video. And then at the bottom right is the vinyl that's on the hang up in the wall in the I hall. We originally took the photos with student photographers and then student athletes, and then we photoshopped it, and then we worked with the industry to put it on the wall, and then learn how to also do it ourselves.
Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. So those are just. The students just wanted to showcase some of the incredible work coming out of the CTE department. So thank you so much for those of you who were able to come down and see the projects in real life, and they are always going, so you're more than welcome to come down into those spaces anytime. Thank you.
All right, next up is the review of the FOIA report we had in front of us. Did the board have any questions in regards to the FOIA report? Hearing none, we'll then move to contracts under 1,000. We did have 2 of those. It looks like for school dances. Any questions of the administration on those 2? Hearing none, we will now move to public comment. As always, members of the public may participate in public comment during regular board meetings by attending in person or by submitting an electronic public comment form. Please note that speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Electronic public comments will be accepted up until noon on the day of the regularly scheduled meeting. The public commenter will be contacted to confirm identity, and once confirmed, the electronic public comment will be provided to all board members in written form. A link to the electronic public comment form is in the online documentation. We did not have any electronic public comment. Do we have any public comment? Do we have any public anymore? Well, we have 1. Yay, we still have public, yay. But hearing no public comment, then we will move to superintendent's report and Dr. Mendoza.
Thank you, and I just want to acknowledge, I think we're having some glitches with technology, so hopefully you're okay. But thank you, Board President Francisco. Wanted the board to know that a team has been gathered to review and propose a variety of procedural and system upgrades related to safety across the district. This team consists of representatives from safety, operations, teaching and learning, communications, technology, and early leadership. The board should expect to receive proposals over the coming months that will lend themselves to enhancing current safety systems in place. This is just building upon what we have, can never be too safe, something that should be at the forefront of what we talk about every year. As a gentle reminder, the Lake County Regional Office of Education will host its second annual Educators of the Year banquet on Wednesday, May 10th at the Lake County Fairgrounds. Board members who have expressed an interest in attending this event should have received their e-tickets. We look forward to recognizing 27 nominees from Round Lake Area District 116, along with many others from across Lake County. I do want to call out, this could be avoided. We planned it well in advance. That's the same evening as the senior honors evening. But we usually plan that at the beginning of the year. We can't really dictate what date the county picks for their Educator of the Year banquet night. Next week, we will celebrate Staff Appreciation Week. The board will be recognizing staff with a lunch at each building with a small gift designed. Again, the best part, designed and created by students of Round Lake Design. And then lastly, as another reminder, the Round Lake High School Athletics and Fine Arts will host their annual end of the year banquets this month. The athletics banquet is scheduled for this coming Monday, May 8th at Parkway Banquet Salon in Round Lake. The Fine Arts banquet will be held on Wednesday, May 17th at Marivella's in Fox Lake. We look forward to celebrating our students with you at each of these special events. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Mendoza. Any questions for Dr. Mendoza? Hearing none, we will now move to committee reports and our great community engagement committee with their update from today.
Hello. We actually had quite a bit to go over, but we reviewed the draft initiatives for 2023-2024 connected to Theme D of the strategic plan. Theme D specifically relates to parent schools, community relationships. Board members should actually refer to this initiative in the packet if you look it over. It's quite extensive, but there was quite a bit that we went over relating to the 4 goals. So conducting communication needs assessments, implementing improved external and internal communication plans, and assessing effectiveness of them, implement improved partnership programs, and then regularly share updates on the progress of the 2020 to 2024 strategic plan. In addition to that, we went over social media analytics. If you look in the packet, you'll see there was some kind of reviewing over of that. And then I don't know if Heather is here, if she wants to, there you go. Excuse me, you're not in your normal spot to expound on that, but go ahead.
Sure. We were kind of quick at the end on this, so I offered to just do a quick update on the social media analytics. There's a report in the packet that shares information by platform, and then the last graph there is the average number of posts per month across the 3 platforms by school and program. Last time we reported out, a question was asked if we could put that minimum benchmark for posting in there, so that is in that last chart. You'll see that most of our schools are way overperforming as far as where we have the benchmark listed today, so we will be looking at that heading into next year, resetting that benchmark to a little bit higher. And then there are just some points that I wanted to reference today. Looking at the athletics posting, I just want to, I think, is Ethan here? Yeah, knocking it out of the park this last year with social media and Round Lake Athletics. One area of note, Instagram. So over the summer we had that bot issue where someone shared post and then we had like 7,000 followers in a day. So that seems to have stabilized some. And if that, we'll keep an eye on that, but as it is right now, with Instagram and high school athletics, we're seeing a 354% increase in followers just on their Instagram account there. So congrats to the athletics department. But again, as you see on those charts, they're really doing a great job. Our webmasters this year as far as social media goes, so we'll continue to highlight those good things that they're doing. We also had a question last time about bringing all accounts, even those individual accounts for sports and activities clubs, under one umbrella. I've had some conversations with our union president about that process, so we're going to start with minimally requiring that all of our staff, as part of our social media guidelines, that they register those accounts with the communications department at the start of next year, so that we know exactly what accounts are out there. Right now, posting or utilizing social media under sports and activities is not a requirement. It's part of that job description. And therefore we won't be mandating that they use it at this time. And we won't be tracking that for that reason as well at this point in time through our conversations where we are today. So I think starting in the fall, getting a good idea of where those accounts actually are will put us in a good spot to, in the future, determine whether we want to bring those all under one platform, the posting platform, Loomly, that we use, and what that cost will be.
So that was essentially it. If there's any questions, let me know. There is a little part on there that talks about the partner schools. That one I would definitely suggest looking into. But overall, it was a great meeting.
Any questions for the committee?
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Bennett regarding the social media analytics.
Sure, Mrs. McKinley, I'll check in with you too upon your return. I know you had some specific questions about the Loomly posting, so I'll be able to talk in more detail with you on that.
Thank you.
All right, hearing no additional questions, we will move to some approval of open meeting minutes.
I need a motion to approve the April 17th, 2023 regular board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Klingler, seconded by Mr. Jewett. Roll call, please.
Mr. Tavera,
Yes.
Mrs. McKinley,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Ms. Lee.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the April 19th, 2023 regular board meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Just a quick question here. I know in the agenda it says approval of regular meeting minutes, but the actual minutes were the
Yeah, I
special
see
meeting.
that.
Yeah. So I think we need.
Yeah, it should be special board meeting.
So with
So I'll
that,
revise that motion. I need a motion to approve the April 19th special board meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
motion by Ms. Lee, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. Tavera,
Yes.
Mrs. McKinley,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco.
Yes. And the motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the consent agenda for the accounts payable amount of $1,029,281.56 and the May 1st, 2023 employment report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Klingler, seconded by Ms. Larson. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mrs. McKinley,
Yes.
Mr. Tavera,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Which now brings us to introduction of administration.
All right, good evening, everybody. Tonight, it is my privilege to introduce Jeff Dees, who will be assuming the role as Associate Principal for Curriculum Instruction at Round Lake High School. Jeff, he comes to us with a wealth of knowledge in across multiple grade levels. He spent some time as a teacher in a high school, was a department chair in a social studies department, and was also an administrator in his career. I definitely feel that his visions of education will completely align with our philosophies of education at Round Lake High School. Jeff performed really well in our interviews. He had some difficult interviews sitting with our entire team of department chairs and moved to our next round, which included our administrative team as well as members of the teaching and learning team from the district level. It's important to say that Jeff was our unanimous decision. Like, without hesitation, he was the person that we chose to work directly with our team. So tonight, please help me welcome Jeff to the Round Lake High School family.
Thank you, Brian. Thank everyone for being here. Thanks, Ethan, for my school tour this morning. This afternoon, it was great to see the building. It's been a pleasure coming to school here. The 2 times I've been here to meet the team. I know he said it was very challenging, but I thought it was invigorating. The department chairs, the teaching and learning team, the district office team were so great to learn from and learn about your building. You're doing wonderful things here, and I know I'm just part of the wonderful work that's happening here. And I'm really looking forward to bringing my vision and my experience to make Round Lake High School even better than it is today. I'm so grateful for the opportunity you've given me. I'm thankful to be part of this community going forward, and I'm excited to work with all of you in the years to come. So thank you so much.
All right, next up is old business. First one on that, the prom DJ contract.
I need a motion to approve the contract with Dance Party DJs for RLHS prom on May 6, 2023 in the amount of $2,400.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Ms. Larson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Devera,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. McKinley,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the 4 boys volleyball stipends for the 2023-2024 school year in the amount of $26,771.80. This is for the middle school boys volleyball.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Francisco, seconded by Mr. Devera. Roll call, please.
Mrs. McKinley,
Yes.
Mr. Devera,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the board travel expenses related to the March 31st through April 3rd, 2023 National School Board Conference in the amount of $1,317.01.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Francisco, seconded by Miss Lee. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mrs. McKinley,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Devera,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Miss Lee.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the board travel expenses related to the March 30th through April 2nd, 2023 Coalition of State School Boards Association Conference in the amount of $1,541.78.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Mrs. Larson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the purchase of Witsy Professional Learning Platform in the amount of $80,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Francisco, seconded by Mr. Tavera. Roll call, please.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the one-year contract extension with Life Touch for the 2023-2024 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tavera, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Miss Lee.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the proposal for Round Lake and McGee Middle School trip to Washington, D.C., Saturday, March 2nd through Monday, March 4th, 2024, to be organized through World Strides.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tavera, seconded by Miss Lee. Just one quick question that I have for it is, are we sending both schools together as one group, or are they going independent of each other? And that's just a logistical question for me.
I can double check. I believe they are going as one group. That's what they did this year, and it worked out. So
Perfect, thank you. That was what my question was, so excellent. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco.
Yes. And the motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the renewal of our membership with the Illinois High School Association and the Illinois Elementary School Association in the amount of $1,730.
So, second. Motion by Mr. Tavera, seconded by Mr. Francisco. Roll call, please.
Mrs. McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the revised 2023-2024, 2024-2025, 2025-2026 school calendars.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Jewett, seconded by Mr. Tavera. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the personal inventory increase of 22 FTEs and 3 stipend positions, and the personal inventory decrease of 15 FTEs as presented in the amount of $156,950.80.
Just a quick comment. This was exactly what was reflected in the budget assumption document that you saw at the last meeting. This is for, the purpose for this is for human resources to manage inventory.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. DeVera, seconded by Mrs. Klingler. Any additional questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. DeVera,
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco.
Yes. Motion carries. We're going to back up one step. We did skip just a first reading on board policy. Just a real quick one for the board. We'll do a second reading at the May 15th meeting, but just make sure that we do our due diligence, review that. If we have any questions, please bring it to the administration's attention so that we can make sure we properly address this when we reconvene on the 15th. Any questions in regards to the first reading? All right, then next up is the approval of vote.
I need a motion to approve the Bolt contract and related documents in the amount of $9,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Francisco, seconded by Mr. DeVera. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. DeVera,
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley,
Yes.
Mrs. Larson,
Yes.
Mr. Francisco,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Which now brings us to positive occurrences. Take it away.
Okay, well, the Project Lead the Way stuff was really awesome. We went downstairs and saw it, and it was really cool.
I was going to say a big thank you to the Schreiber Foundation for the extra money. The kids really dreamed big and they made some amazing, there's an amazing result.
Anyone else? I'll just throw it out there like I always do. Just proud to see all of our activities going. We had garden here tonight, Project Lead the Way. We've got athletics going nonstop in the busy spring season, if you can actually call this weather spring. And then it's amazing also to see the summer camps are already rolling out for athletics, and getting that on the calendar, expanding that with the golf being part of the summer camp program as well, the power camps, the running camps, the whole 9 yards. Again, just giving opportunities to our students and to our district, and it's just much appreciated.
I'm also going to throw out there that band grand finales this week and choir grand finales next week.
And as we've already heard, we've got athletics year-end dinner coming up, as well as the fine arts dinner coming up.
I just wanted to point out, I always see the children at, different track meets and different events. And I know it was pointed out by the guard coach, but our children really do cheer for other teams and they're really positive towards them. And I think it speaks to our culture here. It just gives me warms my heart when I see it. I think it's wonderful. So I just have to call out every time I'm at some event, they do that. They'll be like, good job. So I just think it's great.
And as a parent of a middle school track athlete, I would have to say anything that warms you at a track event is important. All right, next up is future agenda items. Anybody have any future agenda items to touch base with?
I just throw one more positive occurrence in. The high school's musical last Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I haven't been to a musical and I don't even know how long. It was Emma was the name of it, one of my favorite names. But yeah, I haven't been, and I never in a million years would ever dream to participate in a musical or a play in high school. So just seeing how brave and confident our kids were up on stage, it was really fun to watch.
Awesome. All right, here, wrapping up the positive occurrences, hearing no future agenda items. Then I will ask for a motion to convene in closed session as permitted by statute 5 ILCS 120/2 for the purpose of discussing the following: employment matters 5 ILCS 120/2C1, real estate matters 5 ILCS 120/2C5, and closed meeting minutes 5 ILCS 120/2C21.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ms. Lee, second by Ms. Larson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Francisco?
Yes.
Mrs. Larson?
Yes.
Mrs. McGinley?
Yes.
Mr. DeVera?
Yes.
Mr. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Klingler?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Motion carries. That will take us into closed session, and we will not have an open coming out, so that will adjourn us for the public part of this meeting. Thank you very much, everyone who attended online and in person, and we look forward to seeing everybody again on the 15th. Have a great evening.